losses. What's the mood of this team?
Uh, I know a lot of people are probably expecting us to be down, but we took this last loss to heart. It was a very tough one for us. We obviously weren't ready to play, and hopefully it's an eye opener for us. I know a lot of guys are rethinking how they're approaching practice this week. We know we're going to change some things up, and they're coming with a new attitude. So I'm looking forward to what we see differently this week and the new approach that we're going to take and the new attitude a lot of guys are going to have.
Are you surprised as a senior and being here for so long that it's taken three losses for a new attitude to come out?
No, I mean, each year has been completely different from my standpoint. Each of my 5 years has been different. We've had different personalities each year. We've had different coaches in certain roles, different guys in certain roles, and sometimes playing in this conference, as tough as it can be, it takes a multitude of things to kind of pile on top of each other and really reinforce that some stuff has to change in order for us to get better.
Is there one thing you can point to, over the last three games as opposed to the first four games, other than the level of competition getting better once you get into league play? Is there something else other than just, hey, these teams are tougher than what we faced the first 4 weeks?
I mean, in a lot of aspects, that is what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
But more specifically, our guys have been punched in the mouth the last three games and haven't responded the way that they should have, and I think that showed for most people. But guys, we might be a relatively old team in terms of age, but a lot of guys are relatively young in experience, and that experience that they're lacking in this conference will come back to bite you. So they need to realize that each of these games is either going to come down to the last series or you're going to get blown out. There aren't going to be many games where you come out and you just manhandle the other team. You got to come ready to play each week, and if you're not, then we're going to see the same result we saw last Saturday. But we're going to do our best to never let that happen again.
Offensively, just in terms of rushing, with as many good running backs as on this team, he's managed just 30 yards from scrimmage, which is pretty low considering how good this team has been in weeks past. Was that a result of just falling behind so quickly and forcing you to kind of maybe throw the ball more than maybe if you wanted to, or is there something up front that's not working in terms of the running game?
Uh, we haven't come out and really established the run in the first two series, the last three games, which is something our coaches have always stated that they really like to do, and I know that it really takes the pressure off of our offense whenever we get the run established. But yeah, I mean, coming out down a couple of possessions early, we had to throw the ball, and in the second half, keep tacking it on. You couldn't really rely on the run game. But teams are picking up tendencies we have, and they're doing what they can. They know that we've got a really strong rushing offense, and they're trying their best to really dominate us in that aspect. So we've got to pick up some new things and come back better, because if we can't run the ball, it's going to be a long season.
I mean, you guys established the run so evident, in the non-conference part of it. And, Saturday you guys come out throwing the ball, which goes against what you guys were successful with. So is that, I don't want to say disappointing, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how difficult is that for you to kind of take to heart?
I mean, I'm never gonna be that upset with it, having the ball in my hands, being forced to make some plays. I mean, I'm more than happy being that guy that's forced to do that for the team. But it is nice having a little bit of pressure off whenever the run game gets going, and even using myself in the run game. Everybody knows that I'm plenty confident with that. But in terms of just getting it established and realizing that it's not that we don't want to call those plays, it's just when certain things aren't working and you feel backed into a corner, you kind of got to reach into your pocket for some plays, and that's what we've had to do the last couple games, and we have to do our best to not put our coaches in that standpoint to where they have to feel like they're frantically trying to call plays that are going to work, and we just got to come out and produce, which we haven't done.
Speaking of being back into the corner, do you guys kind of feel that way now?
It's getting to that point. I mean, being here for 5 years, you know how the end of the season kind of plays out. You know how the committee is going to go on and look at certain teams for postseason play, and with 3 losses now in our conference, we know that these last 1 or 2 are going to do it for us. If we pick up any more probably than 1, then we're out. So, yeah, I mean, not really backed into a corner as if it's do or die. I wouldn't say we're playing nervous now, but yeah, in the back of our heads, we all know that if we don't pick up something new and change a lot of things, then we're just going to get the same result we had the last 2 seasons.
You've kind of been in this position once or twice over the years where, things are starting to, 3 straight losses. You've been through that once or twice before.
Mm-hmm.
How do you try and make sure these guys don't kind of go in the tank? How do you pick up their spirits, get them refocused and re-energized?
You always want to tell guys that it's going to go one game at a time. It's easier to do that when you're winning and you're trying to focus on the next opponent rather than getting caught up in the wins that you've had and getting a big head. But it's the same thing whenever you're losing. Whenever you've suffered some dramatic losses, some tough losses, you got to keep reminding guys that it's one game at a time, and anything that's already happened is in the past. It's nothing that's going to make you better. It's nothing that you need to dwell on. It's just a new week and a new opportunity. And for a lot of guys, a new opportunity is exactly what they need to pick up their spirits. Get something new on film, pick up some momentum and some new experiences, and then come back better next week.
Your health, Nate, where you kind of at? Coach said last week you were better last week than, but where are you kind of at?
I've been playing through some stuff. I'm not going to really dive into all that. Been playing through some stuff for pretty much most of my career, so just know that I'll be fine come next week. The last of my worries right now is my health. Most of my worries right now are just making our team better and coming back next week and getting a win.
Coach mentioned that the way the South Dakota State game went shouldn't have affected the team, but clearly did with the way the team came out against Southern Illinois. Well, what's your perception of the way the end of that game might have affected last week?
It was tough. I mean, being up and really coming out and just physically dominating that first half against SDSU, I think a lot of guys felt that they saw what our team could be, and in the second half saw just as bad as our team could be, and the results of what not staying disciplined and staying completely focused on the end goal will result in this conference. And then I don't know if it was just a lot of guys thinking that we were going into a cakewalk, or if they didn't feel that they needed to prepare the way they did, because as if they could just flip the switch because they saw what we could do. But it was a big eye-opener for a lot of guys that hadn't been in that position before, to see what teams in this conference, good or bad, can do on any given Saturday.
Well, with that being said, I mean, you're going to look at Western this week, a team that's really struggled, recently. How dangerous, you talk to some of the younger kids and say, hey, listen, you had that attitude against Southern, better not have it against Western, because on paper it's going to look very similar going in.
Yeah, believe me, all that stuff's already been said. And coming off a loss against them last year, a game that we felt we should have won. We were definitely the better team. We all thought. We know that coming off 3 straight losses to a team like this, they're going to know that we're down and that they have a chance to pick up their season, and we cannot let that happen. Obviously, that's the last thing that anybody would want here. But it's going to be a heavily motivated game. We're coming back at home and really striking some momentum going into the later half of the season.
What do you know about them at this point? That was early in the week, but what are you expecting to see?
Watched a lot of film already through just 2 days of getting on top of Western Hill after Saturday. But one thing that we're expecting against every team now, a lot of defenses have shown us movement up front, a lot of twisting and stuff, and a lot of blitz. And seeing how defenses have had that kind of success against us this much through the season, I'm sure we're going to be getting a lot of it. They're a team that has blitzed and twisted a lot in the past against us and had success with it. So we'll be ready for that. That's something we're really going to kind of focus on this week. And but we've seen their defense before. We know exactly what they run. I'm a fan of their defense. I feel very confident watching them on film, and looking forward to this week.
Earlier in the year, when you guys were facing some adversity, something came together. You guys found a way to come together and turn things around during a game. How do you kind of get that back? You know, last year I remember talking to somebody and they said that they felt like it was offense or defense sometimes. How do you make sure that doesn't happen and that you guys stick together and not let games kind of unravel a little bit?
One thing that we've talked about a lot as a team so far is looking for other guys to kind of pick up each other. But at the end of the day, you got to look inside yourself and find what you need to pick yourself up and be the guy that others can rely on, not always relying on others to do that for you. And throughout those first 4 games, that first 4 winning stretch that we had, we could just kind of rely on other people to kind of pick us up when we're down. We had enough talent that we could make it through those games, but coming down the stretch in these tough games, you got to be able to look inside yourself and make a play when you need to. And right now we have guys that are struggling with that, and we need to instill that confidence in them in practice, and hopefully they can come out, create that during the game, and make some plays.